What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of Best Bets and Props, where I go over all of my betting action for this weekend's UFC card, which is a pay-per-view at UFC 291. A very fun card, 12 fights in total, headlined by the lightweights Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier in a long-awaited rematch. And this time they've got the symbolic BMF title on the line for that lightweight clash. But it's been 5 years since they squared off, and at that point in time it was Dustin Poirier who was victorious that night via round 4 TKO. We also have a fun co-main event that now has serious title implications between former light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz as he takes on former middleweight champion Alex Pereira at 205 pounds. A lot of fun fights in this card, even returning names like Tony Ferguson, Derek Lewis. There's just a lot of fun to be had on this card, and a lot of weird results might happen because the last time we were at altitude at Salt Lake City was last August with Usman versus Leon Edwards, and we saw a lot of fighters affected by the altitude. So it should be fun to see what happens this Saturday. I don't have a lot of action on this card betting-wise. I've got 3 money lines, 2 of them favorites, 1 of them underdogs, and I've got about 2 props as well, which are all on the main event itself. So I'll be honest in the spots that I got and which bets I stand behind, which ones I sort of regret, because there are a couple of regrets in this, and just risky bets I'm going to have to be sweating out. But I also do have some recommended props at the end, more of like a lottery ticket round robin, and just some confident plays. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, check out the description for my affiliate link to Bet Online, which is one of my favorite sports books to use for mixed martial arts. If you use that link in the description as a new customer, you'll get a 50% welcome bonus. And using that link does directly help out the channel, as well as, liking the video, subscribing, all that good stuff. I'm going to go over my betting action. I'm going to go over it pretty briefly and make this a quick video. Make sure to check out the full card breakdown I released on Monday night if you want just the full analysis for all 12 fights, all 24 fighters. And hopefully we keep all of these fights intact after the weigh-ins Friday morning. So the first money line I have is the money line on Matt Semmelsberger at welterweight. Minus 165 is the line I got. I put 2 units on Matt Semmelsberger, who has now moved to around minus 190 to minus 200 on most books. I'm pretty confident in this guy. He takes on Uroš Medic, who is moving up a weight class on short notice, and a guy in Uroš Medic who is a 100% finisher. Never been to a decision before. This guy has been from the Alaskan regional scene, Dana White Contender Series. He's really walked through a lot of opponents very early in his matchups. He's a good striker out of the southpaw stance. Does have a bit of a grappling background, but mostly chooses to strike. And he's very explosive early. But again, this is at altitude. This is on short notice. And he's taking on a very durable and equally explosive Matt Semmelsberger, who's proven himself against some pretty high-level guys. And he's been able to either, dispatch of his opponents in less than a minute in the case of Martin Sano and Jason Witt, or Matt Semmelsberger can go all the way to a decision result like he did against Jake Matthews last year, knocking down Jake Matthews once per round, also using his offensive wrestling to take him down every round. Just a well-rounded skill set, explosive early. He can drag the fight out late. I see a lot of ways for Matt Semmelsberger to win this fight, and not many ways for him to lose outside of getting finished early. So Matt Semmelsberger is a very confident pick this week. Like I said, 2 units at minus 165. I think he could even finish this inside the distance within 1 or 2 rounds. The next money line I have is an underdog shot on Claudio Ribeiro to defeat Roman Kopylov at middleweight. I got plus 210 on Ribeiro on BetOnline. I put just 0.75 units on him, so not a big bet because I'm not the most confident. I do think Roman Kopylov has a better comprehensive striking game as this fight goes on, but I think early in this fight, Ribeiro is a much more dangerous athlete, very explosive, is the Brazilian power puncher here. Strong leg kicks and really big, vicious looping hooks. But Kopylov does have the ability to, survive against power hitters, like he just survived against Punahele Soriano in his last fight and finished him later down the stretch of the fight with body strikes. And he did the same thing against Alessio Di Chirico last year, finishing Di Chirico by round 3 finish. So Look, both guys have questionable cardio. I don't have the biggest trust in either of them, but I think they should be a lot closer to 50-50. But I'm getting a much better price than that on Ribeiro's money line. So with this being at altitude, with both guys being a little bit less than trustworthy, this could devolve into a very sloppy striking match. So give me Ribeiro at plus 210, just 0.75 units. I think there is some value on that line. The final money line I have is in the main event itself. I am taking Dustin Poirier to defeat Justin Gaethje in this rematch, just like he did the first time 5 years ago. Dustin Poirier at minus 140. I put just 1.4 units to win one on this money line, and it's a pretty dangerous one. I'll be sweating out. I do think Dustin Poirier is going to win this just based off of his activity. He has more striking output. Just a better technical boxing, in my opinion, even moving backwards and laterally the way that he will be. Trying to keep Justin Gaethje at bay, counter straight punches on the pipe off of the leg kicks that Justin Gaethje is going to be attempting. And I think Poirier is going to do that, and eventually the accumulation of strikes will be so much, he'll outpace Justin Gaethje and probably finish him in championship rounds, if not by decision, if it gets there. So I'm taking Dustin Poirier. I don't think I'm on any sort of, good value on this one, though. I sort of regret playing it because I would probably line this around minus 140 for Poirier, just give him the slight favorite. I don't think by playing this money line I've got any sort of edge over the market, which is what we should be trying to accomplish as gamblers. But gambling on this one, I did this before I actually taped the fight and saw how close a lot of these fights are going to be. So I think Justin Gaethje has made improvements to his defensive striking game. I don't think he gets hit as much as he did back 5 years ago when they fought the first time. But Gaethje's leg kicks, his aggression, and his power, good enough to finish anybody, but I think Poirier will pull away as the better technical striker. As if to make matters even more stressful in this fight in the main event, I am taking the over 2.5 at minus 125. I put 1.25 units to win one. On this one, if it goes over 2.5, I wouldn't be surprised because these two guys, they don't really wrestle offensively that much. Justin Gaethje, good collegiate background in wrestling. I think he's landed like one takedown in the UFC. Dustin Poirier, the only reason he got a submission in his last fight was because Michael Chandler chose to engage in the wrestling and Poirier took advantage. But yeah, whoever wins this, I think it goes over. You're going to see Justin Gaethje moving forward, like I mentioned, and Poirier is going to try to make him swing and miss big as he counters effectively in return. But even the car crash matches that Justin Gaethje has had, these Fight of the Year candidates, the ones against Michael Chandler, he's absorbing a lot of punishment, but he's still making it to the scorecards, just like his last fight, which was a violent affair against Rafael Fiziev. No matter how much punishment this guy eats, he still makes it at least 3 rounds. So I think whoever wins this one will be in the championship rounds if it happens. So I'm taking 0.1 unit sprinkles on Poirier in round 4 and round 5 at plus 1,600 and plus 2,500 respectively. And I'm taking Justin Gaethje in round 4 and round 5 in case his damage adds up and he ends the fight there. So 0.1 units for Gaethje round 4, round 5. Those are both at plus 3,300. Those are all on Bovada for those late round props. So if it does end, I hope it does end over that 2.5 round mark. I hope it ends in one of those round 4, round 5. And we can cash out pretty big off of a very small investment there. I'm excited for this card at UFC 291. I'm just not really trusting a lot of spots betting-wise with a lot of my money. So I do have that money line on Semmelsberger, underdog shot on Ribeiro, money line on Dustin Poirier, which I'm not all that confident in the main event, but I do have that sweaty over 2.5 as well. And I'm hoping that even if Poirier doesn't get it done, hopefully somebody does get it done. I have sprinkled those championship round finishes as well. So as far as the other props I do have a small round robin, just like a lottery ticket, with a bunch of long shot plus money props. Starting off with Michael Chiesa to win by decision at plus 325 over Kevin Holland. I think Chiesa does have a very good shot of winning this one, and we've seen this game plan work against Holland before. A strong wrestler who can just kind of ground Kevin Holland and just hold him there. We've seen Chiesa pull that off against RDA, pull that off against Neil Magny, who's another long-rangey striker just like Kevin Holland. So, look, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility for Chiesa to have the one game plan he sticks to, which is getting the fight to the mat, and that's the one strong weakness of Kevin Holland. So, plus 325 on Chiesa decision. That's the first part of this round robin. I do have Darius Flowers, who's making his debut to win by round 1 finish at plus 750 on Bovada. I think that's really his only way to win this fight. He's a very strong and powerful boxer. He does have a good ground game as well, but that's not really proven against high-level competition. But I think Flowers, with his boxing, could get this done in round 1. After that, I think his cardio falls off a cliff. So just a long shot on Darius Flowers getting like a strong finish in a debut here at plus 750. We talked about Claudio Ribeiro at middleweight getting the job done over Roman Kopylov. I think if he does, in most worlds, it is inside the distance. So at plus 275, I took Ribeiro as another leg of this round robin there. I've got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson to win by decision at plus 150 over Michel Pereira. I think that's a pretty trustworthy prop on its own, honestly. You know, Thompson's going to have the better striking game. He's done this time and time again. Even at 40 years old, I don't see much of a regression in his skill here. Better output than Michel Pereira and better cardio as well. He could get the job done by decision, just land the better strikes over 3 rounds. And the last one is kind of an out there prop. A lot would have to go right for this one to hit. This is Marcos Rogerio de Lima to defeat Derek Lewis by decision at plus 550 for that prop. This is just, you know, Marcos de Lima just chopping down Derek Lewis with leg kicks early, avoiding the early power, making Derek Lewis swing and miss big, and just getting in range and out of range. And then both guys probably gassing out at altitude. These are 2 big heavyweights that already have questionable cardio. I don't think the Salt Lake City elevation will help that at all. So in most worlds, I see this fight between these 2 ending under 1.5 rounds. But if it doesn't and it goes over 7.5 minutes, they might not have much left in the tank to even finish one another. And this could be a very slow, inactive end to the fight, and it could go all 3 rounds. So plus 550 for De Lima to win by decision over Derek Lewis. It would be the first time Derek Lewis loses a fight by decision in the UFC. So with that crazy round robin, I mean, it's just like 0.2 units, just like, you know, 15 to 20 bucks basically to win several grand if those happen to line up. But all we need is just 2 of those in the round robin to profit on that one pretty big. So they're all plus money props, but you could play those individually if any of those strikes your fancy and you're feeling like a gambler this weekend. But that's all of my betting action for this card. The parlay pieces I like. As far as the money lines go, I'm very confident Miranda Maverick beats Priscilla Cachoeira just using her wrestling. I'm pretty confident in Bobby Green to defeat Tony Ferguson because Ferguson looks like a shadow of his former self, especially seeing him suffer defeat by submission against Nate Diaz last time. It's just hard to get behind him in any capacity, but I don't think Bobby Green should be that big of a favorite. Gabriel Bonfim, I like as a parlay piece as well. He's got a 14-0 record right now, all of them inside the distance. Just a well-rounded kid that's a lot more dangerous than Trevin Giles. And Trevin Giles has been finished in all 4 of his losses, 2 of them by submission and 2 of them by knockout. So I think Gabriel Bonfim sort of has his pick as how he wants to finish this fight. So Maverick, Bobby Green, Gabriel Bonfim, those are the most confident parlay pieces on this card. But hit me in the comments with your favorite ways to make money on this weekend's card. Who you have in the main event, if you have any main or co-main event action, I'd love to hear it. And yeah, there's been a lot of people who have been confident in certain sides of the main event and co-main this weekend. It's fun to see how this one plays out on Saturday. So good luck on all of your betting action. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next week for another week of UFC action.